Good morning, everybody. I'm Lavallo, and today is a special day because today is the 2-year anniversary of when I accomplished my goal of visiting every single country in the world.
$193?
It seems both like it was yesterday and it feels like it was years and years and years ago. I remember that day just being incredibly happy. I was surrounded by some of my closest friends, my parents were there, and I think that at that time nothing could get me down. I was just so happy and so smiling, and I was just filled with so much gratitude because going to every country is really hard at times. It takes a lot of patience and perseverance. It takes a lot of logistical planning. It takes some risk. It takes, a lot of time on your own, but it also takes a lot of relying on others and trusting in other people. And I don't know, it's just this huge accomplishment. I've had now 2 years to reflect back on that entire journey and what it meant to me and what I've learned from it. And so today I wanted to share a little bit with you guys about what the last 2 years have been like and also what's coming up next. For those of you who don't know the kind of chronology of how I got to every country in the world, from when I was about 18 until I was about 25, I would travel to maybe 20 countries a year, but I was always working or studying full time. So that got me to around 115 countries, and then I decided to take time off of work, and I thought it would be 6 months. It ended up being 2.5 years. And so in those final 2.5 years, I was full-time traveling, not working at all. And in those 2.5 years, I finished the other 80 or so countries. And by November 17th, 2017, I got to every single country in the world. I always thought that at some point in my lifetime I would visit every single country in the world, but I really didn't think that I would do it at such a young age, and I didn't think that I would do it at the time that I did. It was really in that last year of full-time traveling that I made it the goal to go out and finish and get to every single country. And I'm so proud that it happened, and I remember when I was walking down the steps of the airplane arriving into Malta, my final country, I just felt so much joy and so much gratitude because getting to every country in the world is really hard. It takes a lot of patience and persistence, and it's logistically complicated, and you have to learn a lot about yourself because you're often alone in doing it, and it's a mission that you're on for yourself, but you also have to trust so many other people because being in every country means hundreds of drivers and hotels and security in places. It's a massive, massive undertaking, and that's why only 150 people have been to every country, but 600 people have been to outer space, right? I mean, it's a massive thing to do, and you have to be a little bit crazy to do it as well. You have to be a little bit obsessive to do it as well. But the feelings that I felt was really just gratitude and joy. I remember that while we were in Malta, my father said to me, "This will be a part of your obituary." And that was crazy to me because it was only a couple months after my 27th birthday. I still really felt so young, like a kid, right? And to have done something that I would always be defined by in my life was overwhelming in a way. And I think that has been proven to be very true. I mean, the amount of times that I've said, "I'm Lavallo and I've been to every country," or that I've been introduced as, Sal's been to every country, or it's been relevant in some way, or the only reason that people want to meet or talk to me is innumerable. It has almost every day it happens, and I think that's fantastic. And obviously it was this goal, and I'm incredibly proud of the accomplishment of having done it, having done something that like very few people have done, and that I'm like one of the youngest people to have ever done. But at the same time, there's so many other things in my life that I'm proud of and that I'm striving for, and goals that I have. And so it can at times feel a little bit essentializing and minimizing, even when I'm at a party or I'm meeting somebody new, and that comes up and that becomes the topic of conversation, and it sometimes monopolizes conversations in groups, and I would rather just talk about things that are like current or ongoing. And so I think it's been the past 2 years I've dealt with, in mostly a positive way, the identity shift of becoming somebody who has been to every country in the world, and just often being introduced as that, and often defining myself as that. And that's really interesting, to have like a new way to look at yourself, and a new way that other people look at you. And a similar thing that has always been on my mind in the past 2 years since finishing every country is what I've been calling the weight of experience. And this is something that I've talked to other people who've been to every country, which is that the main reason that I traveled to every country was to try and understand the world, to understand humanity, to understand why there are the haves and the have-nots, what works or doesn't work in our economies and our political systems, the different ways that we express our spiritual beliefs, the different ways that we live our everyday lives. And that was incredibly beautiful for me, and I am amazed at how much I have been privy to see around the world, and how much more I understand humanity and our world because of the travel. But at the same time, I think it's almost beyond the comprehension of the human brain to see so much, and to understand in the little bit that I do about all of these places. And the best way I can explain it is that there's not a single news article, a single story, positive or negative, that I don't feel a personal connection to, because it reminds me of my time in that country. So I think that's just, at times that can be overwhelming, because it just feels like a lot. So what have I been up to in the past 2 years? One thing I'd say is the travel has definitely continued. I have been, I think in the last 2 years, probably to 50 or more countries. What's been exciting about traveling now is that I think I've become a much better traveler, because I have gotten better at traveling in exactly the way that I want to. And I know the things that I enjoy in travel, and I do only that. I know I like to try new foods. I know I like to see beautiful natural sights. I know that I like to talk to people who are from the places that I'm visiting. And so that's how I kind of spend my time. I'm no longer worried about what I must see or, looking at specific tourist sites or historical sites. If I wake up one day and I don't want to do what was on my itinerary, I don't do it. I only focus on what I'm excited about, what I want to learn about, what I want to experience. And I think now more than ever, I am the best traveler that I've ever been, and I'm continuing to improve because I know more what I want and I'm able to really strictly stick to that. So I've been all over the world in the past 2 years. A few trips to South America. I went back to Machu Picchu. I went to the Galapagos Islands. I went back a couple times to America to see my family. I went all over Europe for work in London and Spain and Belgrade. I did a trip through Central Europe. I did a few trips to Central Asia. I was in Kyrgyzstan recently and also Uzbekistan for my friend's wedding. I think I've been to India like 6 times to give speeches and to visit one of my friends. I've gone to Singapore to give a speech. I was in Japan for the first time in 14 years. I was in Saudi Arabia to give a speech, and I went back for work and to see some friends, and I've spent a lot of time on my favorite continent in Africa. I went again to Morocco. I recently was in Senegal. I went to Gabon and Equatorial Guinea. I did a huge road trip in Southern Africa. I've gone back twice to my farm in Tanzania, and I've combined that with trips nearby to Ethiopia and Djibouti. And I also went, one of the first trips I did after finishing every country was I went to Eritrea, which is one of my favorite countries, and I wanted to spend a little bit more time there. So I have been on the move quite a bit still. However, I am now very settled. I'm at my house. I love having a home base. For all of those 2.5 years, there was no home that I had, and I think that's what really got to me a lot in those years was I needed a base. I needed to settle down a little bit. I wanted to have a place to call home, to come back to. And it's amazing how quickly I get homesick now when I'm traveling. It'll only be a couple after only a few days. I cannot wait to be back home. Probably the biggest change in the last 2 years is that I'm working again. I always knew that I would go back to work because I love the work that I do. I work in economic development and investments here in Abu Dhabi, my favorite place in the entire world. I am so honored and truly humbled to be able to have a small impact on this country, and every opportunity that I get to do that, I'm incredibly thankful for. And that is what kind of fuels my passion now. And it's really amazing to be in a position where it doesn't feel like work and where what I'm doing is exactly what I've always wanted to do. So right now I am in my dream job and I'm loving it. And I can't imagine, sometimes I think about, maybe taking off another years, or I have fantasies of doing the travel in new ways. But I'm really lucky that I'm in this position where I'm able to combine the two. The other big update in the last 2 years that you guys have seen, which is I started a YouTube channel, and I love Instagram and I continue to share on Instagram, but for me, it's much more exciting to share stories with you guys in this way. I like to just sit in front of the camera and tell you a story as if I'm telling it to my friends, because you all are my friends, and so it's exciting to kind of relive the experiences that I had and talk to you about those, as well as filming the trips that I'm taking now and taking you along with me. I think it is such a privilege to have seen so much of the world, to continue to see so much of the world. I really think it would be an injustice not to share that, not to take the privileges that I've been given and try as much as I can to extend those to others in many different ways, and I think that this can be one of them. So that's been exciting. In conclusion, it has been an amazing 2 years. There's been ups and downs, of course, but there always will. But I think I'm in a place now in my life where I feel very happy. I feel like I'm on the right path. I know what I want. I know what my goals are, and I am getting them. So thank you guys for everything, for being a part of this. What we can look forward to in the next 2 years, I am going to continue to do videos like this, share a lot more with you. I'm going to continue to travel to exciting places. I'm also going to look at different ways that I can share with you. I would love to do more speaking opportunities. I would love to write more for you guys. So please look out for all of that. Ask any questions down in the comments. I always respond to all of them. Like and subscribe and do all of that good stuff. And I hope that wherever you are in the world, that you have a great day and that you travel safe.